Welcome to the Full-Time FBA Show. In each episode, it's our goal to help you turn part-time hours into a full-time income selling almost anything on Amazon. And now, your hosts of the show, Stephen and Rebecca Smotherman.
Hello there, and welcome to this episode of the Full-Time FBA Show. We're on episode number 310, and today we're talking about momentum killers, the worst Amazon FBA advice that will destroy your business growth.
Dun, dun, dun.
I guess I don't need to introduce you today. This is my co-host, Stephen Smotherman, with the background music as well.
Yeah, I also take care of sound effects, and that's what I'm here for. So, yeah, there's a lot of advice going around. Some of it's great, some of it's not so good. We'll tell you what not to listen to today on the Full-Time FBA Show.
We all want momentum in our Amazon businesses, but sometimes what first might seem like a good idea, an idea that will provide more growth and momentum, is actually a really bad idea, or worse, a momentum killer. In today's episode, we'll share with you the biggest, quote, good ideas that seemed like it would be helpful that ended up actually almost messing everything up. We've been selling on Amazon for well over a decade, and we've heard some doozy ideas that we want to warn you about. But our first warning in today's episode is this: if you're not on the Full-Time FBA email newsletter list, you're missing out on a lot of fresh and relevant content that you can't get anywhere else that can help you along your path toward earning a full-time income using only part-time hours. So go to fulltimefba.com/subscribe today. And, well, that made it sound like the link is subscribe today. Oh. It's fulltimefba.com/subscribe. And if you go there today, you can sign up for our email list. We'll even give you some valuable downloads for free just for signing up.
That sounds good. All right. So like Rebecca said, we've got well over a decade of experience selling on Amazon and with helping Amazon sellers find success. So we've heard many strategies that they push them, and it's actually going to hurt your chances of finding real success with selling on Amazon. And the thing to realize with all of these momentum killers is this: there's always a grain of truth behind all of these momentum killers. Think of it like this. If you want to make a batch of delicious cookies, your recipe probably needs some kind of sweetener. Some amount of sugar is nice, but way too much sugar will ruin your cookies. Or if you're making a certain kind of cake, the right amount of milk or milk alternative in your recipe will probably make it a nice, moist, and delicious cake. But too much milk or not enough milk, that's going to ruin the cakes. The same goes with your Amazon business with these momentum killers. There's a little bit of truth in it, but if you take things too far to an extreme, it's going to ruin your momentum. So, Rebecca, what's the first momentum killer we're going to be talking about today?
Well, before we do that, I just want to congratulate you on your baking metaphor there. That's pretty impressive.
Was I accurate?
You were accurate,
okay,
yes.
Good.
Too much sugar, not good. Too much milk, not good.
Yes.
Okay. So the first momentum killer is the concept of hustle culture. Hustle, grind, all of that. So if you want to hustle, then throw some more hustle in there. That's the only way you can find success selling on Amazon. But like Steven said, there's a bit of truth in this momentum killer. We do need to include hard work in the equation of what we do in order to find success, but working too hard and always having to hustle has the potential to be a momentum killer in your business. Not only does being overworked lead to burnout and overwhelm in your business, but it can also lead to a breakdown in your physical health, possibly even the health of your family relationships. So if you hear anyone telling you to hustle like a maniac, don't have a social life, only work on your business, and do nothing else until you hit 10K months, don't listen to them because that's going to really kill your overall momentum.
Yeah, and you might be tempted to hustle like that, especially from the beginning stages, mostly because, you're really excited and you're pumped about the possibilities that selling on Amazon can bring you if you work really hard, but don't work yourself too much. Work hard, yes. Overwork yourself, no.
Right. The key to succeeding on Amazon is not to hustle, but to set up the right systems and structures so you can succeed with selling on Amazon. That's what we help you do with our Momentum FBA program, and we'll talk more about that at the end of today's episode.
All right. So the next momentum killer for Amazon sellers is this: Sell in all of the main Amazon categories as fast as possible. Sell in home and kitchen category. Sell in the toys and games category. Sell in groceries. Sell in baby. Sell in pets. Sell in...
oh my.
Yeah.
Take a breath.
Yeah, I was actually going to try to say even more, but I ran out of breath. But, that all sounds good. I mean, the more inventory that you have in stock in the different categories, the more you might sell and the more profits you might make in your Amazon business. But here's the biggest problem with this strategy. Each category has its own personality and a skill set to learn. And so if you try to learn them all at once, you're going to end up not really learning much of it at all because you can't keep up with all the differences in each of the categories. So the better plan is to start with maybe 3 or 4 categories. And once you get some confidence in those 3 or 4 categories, then grow from there.
Yeah, and we actually taught about this inside our retail arbitrage mini course within the Momentum FBA program, that it's best to start with these 3 categories when selling on Amazon. Number 1, toys and games, because kids have birthdays all year long and the holidays are so much fun to sell toys on Amazon. Then number 2, home and kitchen, because it's a big sales category that's different enough from toys and games that you can start learning the differences between the 2 categories, especially when it comes to how the exact same sales rank number in one category will tell you something different in the other category. And then the third suggestion we have is to sell in whichever category you already have an unusual amount of knowledge about. So if you love camping, know a ton about camping brands, what the good deals are when it comes to camping sales, all of that. Then the sports and outdoors category might be a good third category for you to try and master first before you start adding a ton of inventory from other categories.
Yeah. So are we saying only source in the toys and games category and the home and kitchen category and the category where you have an unusually high amount of knowledge in? No, we're not saying that. I mean, if you happen to find a profitable item to sell in other categories, go ahead and source those and send them to Amazon to sell, but don't focus on trying to find more of those items as you're learning to sell on Amazon in these other categories. Again, each category has its own personality, and you want to get at a healthy pace of expanding to newer categories only when you're ready.
Another possible momentum killer for newer Amazon sellers is this: retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, wholesale arbitrage, source inventory to sell via all the methods as soon as possible. Again, this sounds good at first. Source all the methods and find tons more to sell on Amazon, except this strategy of trying to use all the sourcing strategies is very similar to the try to sell in all categories strategy. Again, each sourcing strategy has its own skill set to learn and master in order to source well, and doing all of them at the same time is a quick path to killing your momentum.
Right. So let me ask you a question, dear podcast listener. Who gets more done and expands their sourcing skill set and finds more inventory to sell on Amazon as a beginner? The seller who does retail arbitrage on Monday and online arbitrage on Tuesday and wholesale on Wednesday, or the newer Amazon seller who does retail arbitrage on Monday, retail arbitrage on Tuesday, retail arbitrage on Wednesday? I can tell you with over 14 years of selling on Amazon, the seller who focuses on one method done again and again will grow their skill set and eventually find more inventory to sell on Amazon compared to the time they invest in sourcing. I mean, I've shared this on the podcast before, but listen to the acronym for the word focus. Follow one course until successful. So if you're planning out your path on growing your arbitrage skills, follow one course until successful. Follow one sourcing strategy, and you're going to grow more in the long run when you first start out.
Now, we're not saying only use one sourcing method for your entire career on Amazon, but just when you're learning it.
Yeah, start with one, and once you get some confidence built in that one, then add another. But don't try them all at the same time.
Okay, another momentum killer for Amazon sellers is this: being 100% focused on learning everything there is to know before you take action. It's interesting to me how many people start learning how to sell on Amazon and just keep learning more and more, and they never actually even open up an Amazon account. We have heard this so many times. People will listen to the podcast, or they'll even buy coaching or a course, and they'll do it for a long time, but never open an account or never send in inventory. And I get it, learning is safe, but taking action is a little risky, and sometimes we can let the fear of failure convince us that we need to learn it all before we ever take any action.
Yeah, just like Rebecca mentioned, like I had a coaching client who was with me for about 6 months, And I was helping them to learn how to get started with their Amazon account, helping them gain confidence in their abilities, even to the point where they were sending me specific ASINs with the question, would this be a good item to buy and resell on Amazon? And we talked through the reasons why. And finally, after about 5 or 6 months of coaching, I asked the question, and I admit I should have asked this question earlier in the process, but I asked, how are your sales this week? And their response was, well, I haven't actually sent in my first shipment to Amazon yet. And my jaw just dropped. I mean, because he had the skills to start. He had the skills to make good sourcing decisions, but he never put those skills to the test. I mean, his excitement to sell on Amazon at that point was gone, and so was his momentum because he never put the rubber to the road and took any action.
Yeah, knowledge is good, but action is better. And no action is obviously a momentum killer. Here's what we want everyone to know. When you finally start selling on Amazon, or when you finally try a new strategy on Amazon, you're going to make mistakes. And that's a normal part of any learning process. And the mistakes you make are not going to ruin your Amazon business. So to keep that momentum going when you've started your process of beginning your Amazon business or learning a new strategy, just keep moving forward.
Yeah, speaking of moving forward and keeping the momentum going, today's episode is dropping September 22nd, and tomorrow, our Momentum FBA program is hosting a bonus masterclass called How to Have a Six-Figure Q4, where we break down the skills and strategies you need to experience a six-figure Q4 on Amazon. And so the masterclass is going to be held live tomorrow, September 23rd at noon Eastern. And if you sign up for Momentum FBA, you get access to that live masterclass as long as you sign up by midnight tonight, Monday, September 22nd. But we realize many of you are going to be listening to this in the future. And so, but no matter when you sign up for Momentum FBA, you will get access to this How to Have a Six-Figure Q4 Masterclass replay. So to check out Momentum FBA, just go to fulltimefba.com/momentum. It's a super low monthly fee compared to all of the reseller mini courses, downloadable PDFs, standard operating procedures, and live trainings that you get access to every month. So check out fulltimefba.com/momentum and join Momentum FBA.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Full-Time FBA Show. As a reminder, all of the show notes and any links mentioned in this episode can be found at fulltimefba.com/310 because this is episode number 310.
And next week on the show, we're going to be talking about how to leverage an Amazon reseller virtual assistant. We'll talk about all that, what you should expect, what to focus on next week on the Full-Time FBA Show.
Leverage, not levitate.
That's good clarity. Yes.
That's all for this episode of the Full-Time FBA Show. So head over to fulltimefba.com/podcast, where you'll find the show notes and links from this episode. While you're there, subscribe to our newsletter where you'll get several free downloads of our popular and helpful Amazon FBA resources. Now, take action on what you've learned today so you can find success at turning part-time hours into a full-time income with Amazon FBA.